Coming up next on the CHGO Cubs Podcast, full squad workout. Start at Sloan Park. Tom Ricketts gives his State of the Cubs address. What do you think? Plus, we have a special guest ready to join us live. And where do the Cubs absolutely own the Central Division at a key position? This is CHGO Cubs next.
Hey, Chicago, what do you say? It's the CHGO Cubs Podcast on a Monday. Let's have a great week, because you want to know something? The Cubs will be playing spring training baseball by the week is out. So let's kick it off right on a Monday. Joey Christopoulos, Luke Stuckmeyer, Sarah on the ones and twos.
Go Cubs.
That's right. Luke, how are you, man? We had a great guest, but I want to say hello first. How you doing?
I just want to say hello because it is 61 degrees in Arlington Heights, baby.
We did it.
First Cubs workout, weather in the 60s in Chicago. We're going to spring training in just a couple weeks. Don't forget, by the way, that's coming up. You can still sign up for our CHGO spring training trip presented by Shady Rays. We're going out to the desert March 5th through the 8th. We're going to Cubs games. If you want to go to a Sox game, you can. If you want to go to the Bulls-Suns game, it's all a la carte. We're going to go have fun. We've got a golf tournament lined up if you want to a la carte that as well. The bottom line is, if this 61 degrees is giving you a little taste, a little bit of the itch for baseball and sunshine and golf, here we come. We're getting closer. Less than a month away till our big trip, and I am looking forward to that.
9 shows to go, Luke. After today, it'll be down to 8, and then sunny, beautiful Arizona, where who knows, Cade Horton might be throwing 105 miles per hour by the time we get there, Luke. Who's to say?
He's everything you hear, he's all ready to go. You know, everybody's 110%, never been in better shape.
Best shape of their lives, Luke. Best shape of their lives. Speaking of best shape CHGO Cubs, let's bring in one of our favorite guest onto the show right now. He is one of the hosts of Locked On Cubs. He's the better half of Sam Olber. That's what Matt likes to say. It's Matt. Follow him at Matt_Cozzi. It's Matt Cozzi. What's up, Matt? Thank you so much for joining CHGO Cubs.
Joey and Luke, it's good to be on CHGO Cubs, and I don't vouch for that, Joey. Don't make sure that doesn't get to Sam, but yes, it's great to be here, and sometime we'll have to get all 4 on the screen at one time.
Yes.
But excited to be with you, and that spring training trip, that's going to be awesome.
Yeah, you guys should come out. We should quad box it from Arizona. Actually, I don't think we're going to shows. We're just going to go have fun. We're not even going to do shows out there. It's just go. I've never gone, Matt, to a spring training game as just a fan. And so I want to sit out there in the grass and burn my skin until I blister. And, you know, I'll probably be the guy that falls asleep and they put the sunscreen across my forehead that says dork, and then I'll have to do that the rest of the month.
I would never. A sun-zapped Luke wandering in the outfield, doing cold opens to nobody. That's what we're going to be looking forward to. Yeah, we're really excited for the trip, Matt. And who couldn't be excited as a Cubs fan right now, Matt? Especially there's going to be baseball by the end of this week. There's a lot to dive into in terms of just what we heard from players talking over the weekend, and more importantly, also the owner, Tom Ricketts. Just bring us into your world for the CHGO Cubs perspective. You know, your excitement level. What are you thinking about this Cubs team right now as they're about to play some spring ball? Where are you sitting with the Chicago Cubs today?
Yeah, really excited. This is an opportunity for the Cubs to enter the season as clear NL Central favorites for the first time since 2018. So it's been a while. I think the Brewers, Pirates, and Reds will have something to say about that throughout the year, but they had a clear chance here this offseason to build off 92 wins last year and a playoff appearance. And I think they did that. And within a matter of days last month, they traded for Cabrera and signed Bregman. I thought entering the offseason, that was always their preference, whether it was reasonable to get done or not, was to bring in a controllable starter and then pivot and add offensively with the free agent bat. And for them to do both and to revitalize the bullpen, a group that experienced a lot of turnover. All the projections are good right now. All the initial quotage to come out of camp is good from Ricketts on down. The expectation should be high.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much you get into the zips and, Pacoda and all that stuff. But I feel like you could go through this roster, or you could even just go through the offseason and try to identify one player, one situation that would have to improve or really show up for the Cubs to go and take that next step, right? Do you have, if I put you on the spot and I say one player, if this guy does this, the Cubs not only win the division, they're going to be in the NLCS. Like, is it a position player? Is it a young pitcher? Who would it be for you?
Well, my first thought would be someone offensively, and I have two names in mind, and that's Seiya and then Busch. Because if they have years like they did last year, there really isn't going to be too many questions about the offense. And you do have dreams of Michael Busch home run totals starting with a 4, or at least starting with a 3. And if Seiya does what he did last year, that means a lot of guys are on base, from an RBI standpoint and whatever else. So those two names initially as people to repeat big years, I think they're on my mind. I mean, shoot, both guys received down ballot MVP votes from last year. But I think it's going to be in like that 3 or 4 starter range, guys. If someone steps up and is the clear like 3 or 4 with a healthy rotation, Steele, Cabrera, Boyd, Horton. But if Tyone, if Shota could really do some things this year, if you could feel good about when they're on the bump that day, I think that's going to go a long way, because that will have a trickle-down effect to the pen. You're not going to be as worried about the rotation upside or depth. You're not going to care about Zac Gallen anymore. So I think initially I was thinking offense, but even to come out of the gate, if Shota is pitching like he can, that's huge, because they did the musical chairs thing in November. I thought he was gone. Not only is he back, but if he could perform well, that's going to be a big-time story.
Following up on that rotation, obviously Zac Gallen signs with the Arizona Diamondbacks, the team that he's played for his whole career, for $22 million. The dude, frankly, never left his house. He just sat,
right,
declined the qualifying offer for $22 million, stayed at home. We had shows, and I'm sure you and Sam did segments of Gallen. And it turns out he just ends up right in the place where he started to begin the offseason. Do you have a disappointment level? Would you have liked to have added Zac Gallen, or was the price not really worth doing the business at $22 million for a guy with a ERA close to 5 last year?
Yeah, I think for 1 year at $22 million, that was less appetizing than maybe 2 or 3 years for 15 to 20, million AAV or something like that. I'm not too up in arms about it. I do wonder if the Cubs are going to make one more major league signing, whether that's Zach Littell or on the pitching side, or Andrew McCutchen as a veteran leadership bench type guy. But yeah, Gallen and Merrill Kelly both went back to the Diamondbacks. One, Kelly, after being traded. I think the time spent on Gallen was worth it. I mean, I think the idea was good, and they were certainly in the mix. But from here, you move forward, and you take a closer look at who the Cubs have, and if they played a game today, they already have 9 or 10 people that could start.
Yeah.
So I don't feel too bad.
That's the crazy thing, right? At one point, we thought he was already signed with the Cubs, but that never happened. And that's a cautionary tale to the rest of us to just wait until maybe there's a second source or somebody else. I don't think I ever remember, guys, a rotation like this for the Cubs where I could see number one being a fifth starter. I could see the fifth starter being a one starter, the two being the three be the four. Literally, by the end of the season, 1 through 6 in the rotation could be any order of names. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I know some people would look at it and say, well, that means you don't have an ace. I don't know about that. I think you have 6 guys that could elevate themselves to being the ace of your staff that season. At least 5 that could somehow have a great season, and you could say, well, wow, he's having the ace season. At the very least 4, right? So the way it all unfolds, I think it's one of the most interesting rotations the Cubs have ever had. And I hope that they use it in it just as a unique way. I hope they are creative with the way they use it so we don't get to the postseason and have the same situation that we had last year.
Yeah, Luke, even brainstorming player preview segments for shows, which I'm sure you guys are doing too. I put Colin Ray on my sheet.
Yeah,
he was a really, really big piece to the team last year. And when you break that down like you just did, I think about guys like him too. What role is he going to play? We know he's going to be fine with it. So up and down. I think that's absolutely right.
We're talking to Matt Cozzi of Locked On Cubs here on CHGO Cubs. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel. Great comments here coming in the chat. Loving the crossover, Matt. Just like that Chicago PD, Chicago Med, Chicago Fire.
Yeah. They shoot them all here.
It's the crossover episode everyone's been dying for. To hop back onto the offensive side, Matt, really enjoyed not only the article from Sahadev Sharma this weekend about PCA, but frankly, just the comments from PCA this weekend. Now, I understand that talk is cheap, but there's a real sincerity, I think, when Pete Crow-Armstrong talks about what he wants to get better at this year. He's talking about controlling the zone, doing drills to try and dial in and make sure that he's attacking dangerous pitches for him. And I think for a lot of Cubs fans right now, I feel like Pete Crow-Armstrong, your excitement level is like a gradient level of hot sauces, right? Like there are people that are ghost pepper hot that think that he could go like 40 for 40. Other people have more tempered expectations. So, Matt, what is your hot sauce level right now for your expectations for PCA heading into this season?
Well, whatever has not only the heat, but the flavor. Because when you're talking about ghost pepper, that, the flavor is out the window at that point.
Burns it off. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm also excited. There's a really long profile piece in Chicago Magazine next month on PCA that I'm excited to read too. He is the Cubs brand, and for him to lead the way off the field, like from a branding marketing standpoint, has been really cool to see. But he clearly is very serious about this game, and to already hear the quotes from him and Bregman and others about adjustments that he wants to make. Whether it is chasing less or accepting walks, just really selling out with doing damage over the plate. It's really encouraging. And, sorry, Ohtani, but he was the best player for about the first 85, 95 games last year.
Love it.
And it really wasn't close when you pair him at the plate with Gold Glove, elite level defense in center. So the sky's the limit for him.
I've got one more quick question for you, Matt, because this is important stuff that I want to finish with. What do you think of this? That is apparently it looks like it's the Cubs slogan for the season. I told Joey at mid-season they're going to go with that. What do you think of this as a season slogan?
The postseason will be the other. That's what we've decided. There's this, there's
that,
that,
and the other.
And the other. That's what we're going to have. It'll be a 3.
I need to table my answer until I think about it more. I thought it was a strange choice, especially with clear goals in mind this year to shoot for, NL Central Final Four or beyond. But yes, the one word phrasing. I was a big fan of leading off with fragments when I was a reporter. Before I was a teacher, then podcaster.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure if this one is the one I would have went with for the 2026 Cubs. I would have had at least some kind of complete sentence.
I think with any slogan, you can't leave yourself open to interpretation of exclamation after. Like, you can't be this. You know what I'm saying? We can't allow the question mark to seep into the Cubs season, Luke. That's where I'm kind of like, they're leaving the door open a little bit for possible, I don't know, possible people
angry
making fun of
meme.
it.
This question mark instead of a period. Well, that will be something for sure.
This? Where? Over here. This. It's this. I don't see it. It's like an Abbott and Costello kind of starting to roll.
Right.
Roll itself out really quick. Matt, we're gonna get you out here on this last one. I wanted to get your take on this show because I'm a frequent listener of Locked On Cubs. I've been a fan of you guys long before I was on CHGO Cubs. And I just want to get your take on your enthusiasm level for the amount of Cubs players participating in the WBC in the next couple of weeks. Is that you just, as a fan, just wanting health ultimately all at the same time? Are you going to be watching those games? Are you going to be, are you going to be gripping the seat a little bit tight in your recliner as you're watching those games? What's your take on 8 Cubs in the WBC?
Yeah, I've already changed my tune a little bit on this. I think it was a lot of worry at first. And then I decided I don't think that's any way to live, even for that 2 weeks of the WBC. Ultimately, yes, I want everybody to exit with their health. But I do think it's helpful for the game. The participation numbers and the people that are signed up to play clearly reflect a level of seriousness and excitement from them as well. So I think when it starts that first week of March, I'll get there. Right now it's a little bit more milder, but I do think it's going to be a fun time, and it's going to be a nice on ramp to the real thing on March 26th.
I love it. Matt Cozzi from Locked On. Now remember, folks, we're all one family. Some people say, like, why is Locked On talking to CHGO? Why is CHGO talking to Locked On? Yada, yada, yada. We're all Cubs fans. We are this. And you can listen to them, or you can listen to us, or you could listen to all of us, because
Luke, you're good.
We're all Cubs fans. See how I bring that together?
Yes, that was really good. Luke and Joey, thank you so much.
Hey, thanks for coming on. And if we can get you out to Arizona, I would like to see it. If not, maybe we do a collaboration show during the season somewhere.
I think we should. And it was good to be on this episode of CHGO Cubs. Thank you.
We're never going to forget this. That's for sure. Matt Cozzi, everybody, follow him at Matt_Cozzi. Make sure you check on Locked On Cubs. They got episodes all week long. Great content, Matt. Thank you so much for joining. We're going to take a break here on the CHGO Cubs podcast. On the other side of the break, me and Luke, news and notes from spring training, a lot to hammer, and also our top 5 third basemen in the National League. We're going to rank them all. But first, some words from our wonderful partners.
What if you could have reliable and intelligent Wi-Fi? And what if you could keep it at the same price for not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, but 5 years? That's the Xfinity 5-year price guarantee. Imagine Wi-Fi that makes everything in your home just kind of work together. It finds and fixes your problems before you even notice them. Like super intelligent Wi-Fi that has a sixth sense and lets you stream the game when the rest of the family is watching something else online. All your devices working in perfect harmony for 5 whole years. Here's the best part. No annual contracts, no hidden fees, and Xfinity's best equipment is included. So take it from me, a lot can change in 5 years. Championships are won, records are broken, but your Wi-Fi should stay reliable and the price should stay put. So lock in your price, unlock the possibilities with Xfinity. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Xfinity, imagine that. Select plans only, restrictions apply.
And Luke, it's 58 degrees outside right now, but don't let that fool you. Winter is still here. It could plummet at any moment, and you got to ask yourself a question. Is your home's heating, is it up for the challenge? And sometimes you never know, but you might have a plumbing emergency. What should you do? You call Four Seasons. If you have an electrical emergency, what do? You call Four Seasons. You need a new hot water tank installed today? You call Four Seasons, because now is the time to schedule your Four Seasons furnace tune-up. And if you're thinking about a whole home generator, they've got you covered, because at Four Seasons, they guarantee same-day installation for all your heating, cooling, plumbing, electrical, sewer, and generator needs with no extra charges for nights, weekends, or holidays. Right now, you can save up to $4,000 on furnaces and comfort systems with Four Seasons heating, air conditioning, plumbing, sewer, and electric. Furnaces at $39 a month. Furnace AC combos at $57 a month. So save $50 today and call your trusted local experts at Four Seasons Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Sewer, and Electric, serving the Chicagoland community for over 50 years. Visit fourseasonsheatingcooling.com today. Coming back on the CHGO Cubs podcast on a Monday. Special thanks out to Matt Cozzi of Locked On Cubs for joining us for the first segment. Joey Christopoulos, Luke Stuckmeyer, Sarah on the ones and twos. Luke, a lot to take in from this weekend. I mean, I know that the games haven't started, but players are talking. Things are getting ramped up. You're seeing guys like Cade Horton throw off the mound. Let's just dive into it, man. What was your big takeaway from this weekend of spring training?
Well, I think it was today that I just saw that Cade Horton, we touched on at the very beginning. He's hitting 98 already.
Cool.
Okay. Now I don't want to get too out over my skis in reference to the Olympics, but sometimes the guns at spring training are a little bit off. Okay. That doesn't mean he didn't throw 98. I'm just saying, let's all calm down about 2 or 3 miles per hour. But I'd rather have it be that than the other way around, because if it was lower, 2 miles an hour lower, we'd all be panicking saying, oh, he's not healthy, he's not ready to go. Listen, if he can start throwing 98 on a regular basis, and then you mix in Cabrera, and hopefully some other things start to fall in place. That's why I asked Matt, like, which one guy? And I hinted at there could be many players. He chose Seiya, and he chose who was the other one? He gave the 2 hitters.
Oh, Seiya
and Busch. He gave us Seiya and Busch, and I said, well, PCA obviously is another answer. If PCA plays like first half PCA, he's the answer. But sure, it could be Cade Horton. Like, if Cade Horton's going to do that, or if Cabrera's going to put it all together and figure out his fastball, then those are exciting things to watch this spring. And it's something we'll look at. We know when we go to our spring training trip, I don't know who's going to pitch at the games we're going to go to, but I would love it to be Cabrera, and I would love it to be Horton. And next on my list would be that I would want to see throwing a live game with my own eyes. Probably Shota.
Oh, okay.
Probably Shota might be my third one. What do you think?
As the third, I was gonna toss in Palencia. I just want to see him have a strong, confident spring. I just want to see him saw off some bats of some guys that might not be on a major league roster, right? And just kind of dominate. I think that would be cool. When it comes to Cade Horton, I definitely appreciate Craig Counsell, not Craig Kimbrell. Craig Counsell, our manager, say, and I quote, he's cruising right now. I feel like there's a loose confidence about Craig this spring. I can't quite put my finger on it. Maybe we'll look back on it and say it was maybe a touch of bravado if things go sideways. But there's an inner confidence, I think, with the way Craig is speaking to the media, and he isn't afraid to say, this guy looks good today. He isn't afraid to say, Daniel Palencia is my closer. Let's rock and roll. He isn't afraid to say Michael Busch is going to play versus lefties, right? Like, he's being a little bit more forthcoming. And when it comes to Cade Horton, I just want him to have the most boring spring training possible. Right? I want him to get out there, and as long as he feels like the plan that he's trying to execute and attack on the mound is working for him, he's healthy, he's rearing to go. Pitch count is where they want it to be for that first start, that first turn, starting March 26th. We don't know if he'll start that day, but he'll probably maybe start on the 28th, 29th at Wrigley. That in that weekend series. I just want him ready to roll. Like, that's what matters to me. And again, we'll do it. It's the old cliche, Luke. But again, when we talk about pitchers on the mound, some guys are out there strictly to work on stuff.
Yeah.
Other guys are out there to perform. It's hard to pick and parcel. But for me, wouldn't you say Cade Horton? He's earned his spot, right? I don't know if he's out there to produce. I think he's out there to work on whatever it is that he wants to work on that day on the mound.
I wouldn't doubt that he tried to increase the velo a little bit in the offseason. Everybody probably did, but I bet he's a guy that thought, you know what, I can uptick it 1 or 2 from there. I remember Kyle Hendricks did it 2 years ago, and we thought, well, that's crazy. And sure enough, he actually, even in his old age, was able to put a little extra on a obviously very mediocre fastball. But you mentioned cruising along from Craig Counsell, and I thought it was an interesting phrasing because that's what we heard Horton say and his manager say the whole second half of last season. Well, right now he's just in a groove. Right now, I don't say he's just in a groove. He's just cruising along. And I think the pessimists out there, like myself, were all like, well, yeah, but what pitcher is he going to be when that zone goes away? Like a hitter, when he's in the zone and then all of a sudden it falls apart and they adjust to him when it goes away. But what if it doesn't? What if it doesn't? And what if that's just Cade Horton 90% of the time? Well, now we're talking, now your ace questions are over, if you have any ace questions. So I enjoyed today because today is the first full team workout. We all know everybody's pretty much been there since the beginning. Some guys had problems getting back into the country, but one person that's there on the first day of the full workout all the time is Tom Ricketts. And it brings us to our new segment, The Original Take, brought to you by Hooters. Cheer on your favorite teams from any of the 11 Chicagoland Hooters locations or check them out at originalhooters.com. So Tom Ricketts is there at spring training today, and he always likes to, speak to the team. We don't know exactly what he said to him. And then there's the state of the Cubs. A lot of people want to ask Tom Ricketts a lot of questions. And to be quite honest, Tom Ricketts took a ton of heat, some of it probably very fairly, on spending, right? Like you see other teams spending and people were mad that maybe the Bellinger money did or didn't get used last year, right? And we went into this offseason and it took forever for something to happen. But then all of a sudden it did, and they started spending. And you start looking at other teams like the Phillies and, just anybody, the Brewers, right? And they weren't doing much. And so Tom Ricketts was asked today, this is from Marquis' Twitter page. He was asked by reporters, what is the goal here this year? What do you think this team can do, and what are you hoping to see?
Obviously, we want to win the division. We should win the division. It's just a matter of executing and staying healthy, and I think we should be right there. You want to win the division for a lot of reasons, not just because it's aggravating not to, but you want to put yourself in the best position for the playoffs as well. And so hopefully that we'll execute against that plan and be there at the end of the season.
That was Dennis Culleton, the PR man there for Tom Ricketts, standing behind him, checking out that answer, listening closely. And as soon as I heard the first soundbite, I knew what was going to happen on Twitter. There would be no waiting. There would be no waiting for another soundbite. There would be no waiting for another quote. The first reactions would be negative, and everybody would fire out there, wow, way to shoot high, division champs. Come on, when do we win the World Series? It's still coming, guys. It's still coming. So, Joey, are you okay with the first comment before we get to the second comment?
So I am not going to wag my finger at progress, Luke. Okay, this is progress, first of all. Is it exactly what you want to hear from your owner? It's not who's the guy in the Golden State Warriors owner who's like, all I do is we think about winning championships. It's not exactly that, all right? But this is progress and a far cry from, look what the Arizona Diamondbacks do. And if we can just put ourselves in a position, you never know what's going to happen when the ball gets tossed up in October or whatever. This is a shift, I think, in messaging, it is a positive thing for the Cubs. Your owner's out there saying, we should win the division. And what that says to me also is, I understand that all bets are off in the playoffs in October, okay? But there's also a nuanced conversation that you can have that says, if you are a damn good regular season team, if you grab the regular season by the throat and you put yourself, as he said, his words, in position, right, with home field advantage, being a 94, 95 plus win team with confidence, right? Maybe you don't have to play that first wild card round and you get to line up your rotation the way that you would like to, something that wasn't afforded to them last year. It puts you in a better position to succeed in October. And they're getting, it just feels like a little bit more serious. My only other thought on it, Luke, too, is that it is funny, too. You can't tell me that Tom doesn't think about this stuff where, there's some years where he's like, maybe I shouldn't talk. And there's other years, maybe I should try and find a more convenient time, or maybe find a smaller pool of reporters and get a couple quotes out and sort of call it a day. We'll do it outside of this, whatever. This year you can tell, and it's permeating throughout the organization, there's a confidence going on with the Cubs where Tom's like, yeah, I'll talk. What do you want to ask me, right? And you have to know that internally he's like, this is the year that I feel safe to come out and say some stuff, right? And I think that also speaks to a bit of a shaping and changing in the messaging going on with the Cubs.
Yeah, if that soundbite didn't satisfy you from Cubs ownership, maybe the next one will, or maybe the next one won't. But we're going to hear it on the other side of a break here on the CHGO Cubs Podcast.
Hey, Cubs fans, every Tuesday in the month of February at Hooters, it's Wings for Kids. Get your wing cravings that can make a difference. Right now, Hooters is donating a portion of their chicken wing sales to Holy Family Schools that help fund tuition, books, classroom supplies, and more for kids in under-resourced communities. And with the support of our Chicagoland Hooters family, they've raised over $1 million since 1992, so keep that going. It gets even better at Hooters because right now, the drink of the month, Tito's Strawberry Lemonade. A splash of that strawberry puree, only $8 all month long at Hooters. And never forget their weekday-long lunch specials. It's still the best lunch spot in town, so weekdays for $9.99 or less. Enjoy some of their faves like boneless wings, their OG wings, the blackened chicken Caesar salad, the original burger, and more. Available every Friday, Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. So visit one of their amazing 11 Chicagoland Hooters locations. It could be in Lansing, Melrose Park, Oak Lawn, Downers Grove, Countryside, Aurora, O'Hare, Orland Park. The list goes on. Check them out today at Hooters.com and get your wing on.
New Chevrolet models are in store at Ray Chevrolet, and it's your chance to shop hot deals all month long during their auto show sales event. Stop in today and drive home with 0% financing for 72 months on all new Chevrolet models. Or you could check out their selection of over 125 vehicles they have priced under $20,000. With one of the Chicagoland's largest Chevy inventories, you're sure to find the perfect vehicle for you. And because they are one of the top selling Chevy dealers in the Midwest, they're able to keep their prices competitive, so you know you're going to get a great deal. Plus, Ray's Price Promise lets you shop confidently because the price you see is the price you pay. Go see for yourself. Our partner at their convenient location on Route 12 in Fox Lake. Don't miss out on their auto show sales event going on this month for 0% financing on 72 months, all new Chevrolet models. That's Ray Chevrolet in Fox Lake or raychevrolet.com. They've been serving the community since 1963. Together, let's drive.
Coming back on the CHGO Cubs podcast on a Monday, Joey Christopoulos, Luke Stuckmeyer, Sarah on the ones and twos. We got a great week of shows coming up for you guys. Justin and Luke back in studio Tuesday, Wednesday as we get ready for Cubs White Sox this Friday, the first spring training game of the year. I'm going to kick it back over to you, Luke. Tee up this next Tom talk here as Tom Ricketts met the media today and showed off a little bit of that confidence that I think a lot of players and coaches feel about this Cubs team right now.
Talks. And that maybe should be something that we do throughout the season. Tom talks. And, you know, if you didn't like the first one where he's like, I think we can win the division, we should be right there for the division. As Joey put it, my feeling about it is, listen, we're done with the baby steps, but he's right. Before you take the next big step, you still got to get past the Brewers. And I thought it was happening last year, but that has to be step number one. You have to win the division. I know you can get into the postseason different ways. They almost made it to the NLCS with a wild card last year. But it's time to not only knock the Brewers off the top of the division, it's time to knock them out of the postseason for a few years. Just go ahead and step on them and say, nope, there's only one team in this division that's going to the postseason, and it's the Chicago Cubs. The big dog is back, right? So Ricketts was asked to follow up on it, and I think you'll like the next answer probably more than you liked the first answer.
We just have to win more World Series. I mean, it's about winning. I mean, all this other stuff, it all leads to one thing, and that's about winning. And we just have to put the kind of teams on the field that can be in the playoffs every year and get back on top.
Yes. He said it. The WS, the World Series. He mentioned it. He put it out there. Win some World Series.
There it is. Multiple. We need to win more World Series.
Now that is my favorite thing that ownership has said in a while. And I am not a person that bags on the Ricketts family. I am not. I've heard it all. I've understood some of it, and I agree with some of it. But I also know that they're the ownership that brought us the World Series, and they did a lot of stuff for Wrigley Field. They did a lot of stuff, yes, around the ballpark that benefits them. But they also hired Theo, and they also hired Jed, and they hired Joe Madden, and they got us that team. And now it's time to get that cycle back into motion. And I believe that they really sort of did put their money where their mouth is this offseason more than others. Last year, I didn't like the whole thing, the way they spoke about the offseason and saving the money with Bellinger, but we could go somewhere else. And I didn't love the general manager coming out and saying 2032 or whatever year he mentioned. This was a better way to say it. We want to do this every year, and we want to win World Series, plural, S. I like that. And it doesn't mean a whole lot in the grand scheme of things, but I think it gives us a little extra drive going into spring training, right? Day one, that's the kind of stuff the team wants to hear too.
I'm not going to lie, as a fan in 2020, for, financial, societal reasons out of our control, I feel like that Tom and they decided to play it a certain way because they weren't able to predict the future, where maybe as a Cubs fan, there was a way to kind of move through those obstacles with aggression and passion of keeping high quality baseball on the north side. They decided against that. They moved on from the Cubby core. The part that I think a lot of cynicism and skepticism and hesitation from Cubs fans came from, were they going to be able to do it again, right? And I think another one of the criticisms that I have would be, and this is like an entertainment term of like, you already have a proof of concept of this working in 15, 16, and 17. So you can just recharge that and get back into that cycle, which is, I think, is very fair for last year specifically. Is like, the time is now. We know we've done it before. These are kind of the things that we have to do. We get a little bit younger. You sign that key free agent. You bring in that said superstar like a John Lester. You rock and roll. Then you trade. You know what I mean? All that stuff. So I'm happy that at least now they're fulfilling what I think is, as you said, getting back into that cycle. Hopefully that is 15, 16, 17, 18. Where hopefully, right, last year was 15. We don't know what will happen this year in the 10-year anniversary of the Cubs breaking a 108-year drought to win the World Series. I'm not saying they're winning the World Series, but they're putting themselves in the conversation, Luke. And that's all that we ask for as Cubs fans. And as the owner, Tom Ricketts, saying that into a microphone on record, frankly, I don't really think there's any harm in it. And frankly, I think it is his job and his obligation to let Cubs fans know that we're thinking about winning World Series. And I just think now this is the offseason that he feels comfortable saying that again. And my hope as a Cubs fan is he gets comfortable saying that every offseason until the job gets done.
And I saw what Chef Kevin said on the bottom of the screen in the live YouTube chat talking about there hasn't been that much consistent winning. And yes, it was 15, 16, 17. When you go to 3 NLCS, at that point, that was the golden era of Cubs baseball. But after it fell apart, then you look at it and say, then what? So the bar was super low, then it was super high, and hey, that's great. The expectations raised for the organization, and now Can we get back to 15, 16, 17 at least? Can we get back to being the big boy in the division? I'm tired of the small stuff. So I think the confidence was nice to hear. The action was nice to see in the offseason. And frankly, it's the right message, especially if there's going to be a work stoppage after the season, right? Like if you're thinking, because that's going to be a tough message to send to baseball fans, especially Cubs fans. So at least what we want to hear now is you're doing everything in your power to win now. If we're going to side with you, if anybody's going to side with you in the offseason about any of this stuff, then we better see that you're on our side now. And I do believe I know the Ricketts family they're Cubs. They were Cubs fans originally. And I know it's easy for it to become a business, but this was the message that it's one little snippet. I know it doesn't mean a ton, but it's the message that I at least wanted to hear. And I wasn't sure I was hearing it when they said something about the division, but at least he dropped the World Series and said it today, because that's what we're all thinking. That's what we all want. We just want the Cubs to be back in a World Series here.
I think, okay, consistent winning. Chef, yes, Chef. I love your comment, Chef, but I disagree with you on this one thing. You said the Cubs were the wild card in 2015. They didn't win the division. The Cards did. Okay, that's fine. They then beat the Cardinals in that divisional round. They got into the playoffs. They won 90-plus games. So when we say consistent winning, what is that equal to? Okay, we can have that conversation. I think what we're talking about right now is from 2015 to 2019, they were consistently a 90-plus win team until the wheels fell off in September in 2019. Are we going to count 2020 for them winning the division? Was that a dangerous team? So we can kind of pick and parcel a little bit of what we think consistent winning is. I don't think anyone counts 2020. It's more in that area. And frankly, this is just the truth of Chicago baseball. If you take away the 1990 to 94 White Sox, that iteration, the 2015 to 2019, is the most consistent winning Chicago baseball this city has seen in over a century. So I understand we're grading on a curve, but forgive us, it just is. It's just the most consistent version of Chicago baseball that we've had. The other thing that I want to follow up just really quick on this, I know we got to get to our top 5 third baseman, which might not be that long of a segment as we think it is. but Luke, like, I understand that what we're saying right now, and whenever someone even attempts to relate or rationalize or even maybe compliment Tom Ricketts, someone will always say, well, why isn't he spending $300 million, right? And I, on this show, was pushing for Zac Gallen pretty consistently for multiple months. It did not happen. But I will tell you something right now. For those people that want to criticize Tom for not getting that deal done, $22 million for Zac Gallen was never in my language. I think that it's too much money for a one-year deal, or even if it was the multiple deal, I bet you the Cubs were trying to get it at their price at $15 to $8 million. I'm okay with them not getting him. Having said that, Luke, my expectations are going to be just as high heading into the year, that if we head towards the deadline and we are a dangerous team and we do have the regular season by the throat and we are up, 6, 7, 8 games in the division, if there is a star pitcher or star position player out there, my expectation is going to be very high that the Cubs make a serious play for that player, even if I'm okay with them losing out on Zac Gallen at $22 million, because I wouldn't have paid Zac Gallen $22 million.
Yeah, I mean, it's not my money, so sure, I guess I would have in that way. But if you're talking about a budget and all these other things, $22 million for a guy who wasn't good last year seems like a pretty high spend on a gamble that you can fix him for this year. That said, had they signed Zac Gallen and they had gone out there and done that, or even if they had brought back Castellanos for nothing as an extra player on the team, just like the last guy on the roster, I feel like Tom could have been speaking, if it was Gallen, if they had just signed Gallen to $22 million, Tom could have done that interview right there at Sloan Park, and Dennis Culleton of the PR department for the Ricketts family could have been in the background, and he could have been peacocking behind him. Like he could have been doing a peacock walk, like, yeah, we did. Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did. Like they could have really made it something. Instead, there's still a little, They were still firing the I don't know. You're totally trying to win the division. I think it was a good thing. I don't think you want Castellanos on the team necessarily. I don't think you wanted Zac Gallen for $22 million, because what we were talking about with Matt at the top of the broadcast was I can look and see 4, 5, 6 guys that could be the ace. And then you start trying to figure out how Zac Gallen fits into that. If I don't know that he's a 1, 2, or 3, then $22 million is probably too much when you're already paying Shota $20 million and you're not sure where he's going to fit in to that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm okay that they didn't get Gallen. I thought it would have been a great addition, but I'm with you. If they need that at the trade deadline, and if Jackson Wiggins isn't part of it or whatever it takes to get that player, then they better go get that player.
And if the Diamondbacks aren't in the race, the Cubs and Gallen's having a great season, and they've got $14 million of deferrals, and they maybe want to lighten the load a little bit on that, the Cubs can make a competitive offer for him at the trade deadline. And pushing it even further, Luke, if you just kind of look at the track record of Jed Hoyer, his romantic pursuit fulfilled with Alex Bregman. He looked longingly at Edward Cabrera. They finally got Shelby Miller back into the organization. If the Cubs like Zac Gallen, he could easily be a target for them next offseason, right? So I don't even know if this conversation's over with him. I just know he's not going to be on the team for opening day, and I'm okay with it.
I heard an awful lot. I mean, there's the big names that they didn't get, but we heard a lot about Bregman, right? It finally landed, as you said. Zac Gallen, we heard a lot about Zac Gallen for 2 years. Remember the days of Whit Merrifield is going to be our leadoff man? Like that went on for like a 4 or 5 year stretch. They're going to trade for Whit Merrifield. They're going to get Whit Merrifield. Whit Merrifield's going to be their leadoff man.
What would it take?
Yeah, what would it take to get Whit Merrifield on this team? So I don't know who the next guy will be on that list.
Pete Alonso's another guy too.
Yeah, Pete Alonso's been talked about a lot too.
Yeah,
that's
so.
Right.
I mean, Zac Gallen is currently an almost Cub. He could still be a future Cub. We're not shutting the door on him. I want the Diamondbacks to lose and Zac Gallen to win. Maybe he'll be on the team August 1. And Chef Kevin Penner coming back with a thing I agree with, because I agree with you most of the time, Chef. It was $22 million plus draft pick compensation for Gallen. That's a lot.
It's the compensation.
Luke, let's get into it, man. I don't know how long. We've been doing let's rank the positions in the division as we get closer to spring training. You mentioned Alex Bregman, so I think it'd be apropos of us right now to do, how did the third baseman rank in the division? Yeah. Let's just do it. Let's start here. Top 5 third baseman in the NL Central. At number 5, St. Louis. Who cares?
Irrelevant. Teams irrelevant. Franchise is relevant. They're not even trying.
I believe it's a gentleman named, I know who this player is, but I believe it's Nolan Gorman, who also has a wonderful restaurant, I'm sure, with tons of wonderful seasonings. And
No. It's one of those things. Remember, you used to put those in your car. If you had a Gourmand, it would tell you how to get there.
Is it a weird bunion with the foot? I'm dealing with a bit of a Gourmand on my front.
It's not Arenado, and they've given up, and they are the worst fans in baseball, and they are irrelevant. So we move on from that franchise.
At number 4, coming in at the NL Central top third baseman, we have. Unproven player, has not played at the major league level, but it looks like the Milwaukee Brewers, after trading Caleb Durbin, are going to bring in Jet Williams.
Yeah.
Cool name, 2 T's, guy with an 868 OPS across 2 levels in the minor leagues last year. I have him at 4, where I think that he's probably talented, right? And I think the Brewers are on to something, right? But right now, haven't seen him at the big league level. And they're going to move. Who knows what they're going to do between. I can't imagine them moving Terang or Ortiz over to third. I think those positions are locked. I think they're going to give Jet Williams the shot, Luke.
I would love to see a B squared, a Brewers bust. That's what I would like to see out of Jet Williams. He's got 2 T's. I would like to see 2 B's. And let me just tell you, it is a cool name. There's no question about it. That's got a little riz to it, That's got a little swag. It's got a little drip
Nolan
to
Gorman. Yes.
Jet Williams is a pretty cool name. I just hope he's not good at playing baseball. And he's unproven, so there's no way he's near the top of this list. For right now, he's just slightly better than the franchise that doesn't matter.
Bad at baseball, better name it. Number 3, honestly, by default. I mean, this list is wild. I got third baseman for the Pittsburgh Pirates, Jared Triolo. Sarah, let's just keep it rolling at number 2. I got Ke'Bryan Hayes. The reason why we're keeping going is for the Cincinnati Reds, Ke'Bryan Hayes, Gold Glove player, obviously beat out Matt Shaw for the Gold Glove. I mean, Luke, like before we get to number 1 with a bullet, Alex Bregman, just these are the OPSs for the players last year. Gourmand's OPS was 666. Not the mark of the beast, but whatever. Jared Triolo, 667. Ke'Bryan Hayes, 656. I mean, those are sub-major league average numbers, right? And if Jet Williams, let's say he gets you league average at 700, at number 1, and it's like a country mile plus a hop, skip, and a jump, it's Alex Bregman, number 1 third baseman in the National League. And I don't think we're breaking any news there, Luke.
No, there might be other positions. We haven't done them all yet, but this is clearly the position where the Cubs own the Central. It does. I don't care what season Alex Bregman has. This is a position the Cubs own going into 2026. Bregman is so much better than anybody else on that list. It's not funny. Now, Ke'Bryan Hayes, as you mentioned, good defensively, solid player. But I think I would argue, if I had to do it right now, I think the Cubs have the 2 best third basemen in the division. I think it's possible the Cubs are 1 and 2. We left Matt Shaw off of this because he's not the starting third baseman anymore. But I think the Cubs' backup third baseman might be better than any other third baseman in the division. Now, Jet Williams may prove me wrong. And Ke'Bryan Hayes and his bat might prove me wrong. But if I had to gamble on it right now, the 2 best seasons, complete seasons, defensively and offensively, I think it's going to go Bregman Shaw. And so I think this is a position where the Cubs really need to show off how much better they are than the rest of the division, especially in those division games.
Yeah, it's just when you go position by position, you start kind of ranking everybody up. And this one's such a clear advantage. It just helps continue to provide and boost that confidence that this Cubs season in the regular season could be really special. And then we see what happens in October. Chef Kevin Penner said the Brewers signed Louis Renfroe over the weekend to play third base to start for the Brewers. That's fair. I still have him right there. If you want to say Louis Renfroe's ahead of Jared Triolo, knock yourself out. It's still shouting distance with the megaphone away from what Alex Bregman brings to the table every single day. And then also Billy Taylor, 701, they should win the Central every year. That should not be a big deal. No, and look, he's right. And then Billy Taylor, shout out to him. I had a very, let's call it spirited conversation with him yesterday on our YouTube comments. I always welcome YouTube comments after our videos. And look, here's the thing. He says that the Cubs aren't as good as they were at the beginning of last year. It's a fair opinion to have. I simply disagree with him.
Yeah, I don't agree.
He believes that I don't know what I'm talking about, which is fine. We're going to see how it plays out. But again, Billy Taylor, thank you for coming in the comments. I'm happy to talk it up with you and disagree with you all day long, as we do it respectfully. And then Pat Jumer says, what a difference a year makes. Last year, we were hoping Gage Workman would work out at third.
Yes.
And now we have 2 of them. And now we got 2 of them, Luke, as you said, and it's really well put. That even if Matt Shaw took over tomorrow, he's probably still the number 1 third baseman in the Central. So just doing this exercise lets you know that maybe the Cubs don't have that superstar, but pound for pound with the NL Central, what Tom Ricketts says today, you could tell why Tom Ricketts is confident about the NL Central, because they should, man. They should dominate this division this year.
Yeah, that comment is where I was going next. And it's not just last year with Gage Tater Workman, who admittedly I was all in on. I was ready with that taters mashed. I'm just here for the taters. Gage hits taters. All of the shirts I wanted to make. I had them all ready to print. I had talked to Obvious Shirts about printing some for them. I talked about our merch store doing a bunch. And I was willing to eat mashed taters every time he would hit a home run for the Cubs. It didn't work out. Okay? It didn't work out. But skip last year. All you have to do is you have to go back to Chris Bryant. You have to go back to healthy Chris Bryant, and obviously that's as good as it gets when you're talking about the MVP. But think of all the years in my life that third base has been an absolute hole for the Chicago Cubs. When Aramis got here, first, Ron Cey, back in the 80s for me, there was a little tiny window where we had Ron Cey, and the Penguin was the guy. And then you had to jump forward all the way to Aramis Ramirez. And Aramis held that down for a long time after we got him from the Pirates. And then finally, Chris Bryant. But guys, third base has not been a strength. I know you can talk about Sano back in the day, but like we've had a lot of years where we go, who's at third?
Yeah, super quick, like just for younger generation Cubs fans, right? Like growing up and in your generation, wasn't it always like since Santo ... And then we had Steve Buechele and Kevin Ory and Jose Hernandez and Gary Gaetti even in 98 or whatever. And it was always since Santo. Yeah. Since Santo ...
Yes. The equivalent to what was going on since Ron Santo, before Aramis came into the picture. And like I said, Ron Cey's got a little speck on there where the 84 Cubs, but it was fairly equivalent to the Bears quarterback situation since Sid Luckman. That's what it was. And so to go in my eyes, I'm like a computer. I condense all information down into little things, and I forget about a lot of stuff. But I've compressed all my information, and I look at it as one big thing. And I sit here and go, wow, Bregman and Shaw, that they have the best third base situation in the division. And it just, other than those great runs by Chris Bryant, it just hasn't felt like that since Aramis. And so it's good to look at it and say, listen, there's no debating it going into the season. Like the other positions we can debate. But if somebody from another city in the division wants to come on our podcast and try and tell me why their third baseman is better than Alex Bregman and Matt Shaw, I will sit here and listen to it for less than 1 second. Because it would be lunacy. This is a position the Cubs own in the Central.
Absolutely, 100%. We got about 3 minutes to go on the CHGO Cubs podcast. I'm going to give you the option here. Do you want to spend the last 2 minutes talking Shelby Miller or ABS?
Well, Shelby Miller's interesting, but he's not going to pitch for the Cubs this year. Okay? He's not. They signed him so that they would have a cheap starting pitcher if there's a season after the work stoppage, and they may not have Tyone, and they may not have Shota, and they may, okay, cool.
Can't quit him.
They're always looking ahead. That's fine. That's great. Let's talk ABS. I need clarification from somebody out there. Are they going to have the box on the screen or not? Because I read one article said they're going to have a box. Then an article said there won't be the box. And then they don't want teams looking at the box and then questioning the box. Is there going to be a box? I want a box on my screen.
What's in the box? What's in the box? I've also heard that like some broadcasts will do like different color orientation for whether it's a strike or a ball. They're going to get away with that. And my nose detector, my BS detector is going up just a little bit, where I feel like that they're beta testing this. I think that they're tossing it out to the general public to say, would you like it? Would you not like it? We maybe want to protect the challenge system by maybe getting rid of it. But if the fans like it, we will bring it back. They also released the strike zone, which is a square or rectangular, depending on, however you want to go about it. And then they showed an umpire that showed more of an oval circle. Mm-hmm. So I feel like that this is something that is going to be a bit of a work in progress. I'm curious to see how it rolls out during the season, challenge system wise. But I feel like that they're kind of beta testing, like they're throwing it out to the public. Would you like to see a box or not to see a box? And I think people have gotten used to the box. I know I kind of have. Yeah. So, yeah.
It's pretty simple. If they take away the box, why don't you just take away the lines in tennis? It's the same thing. Like, we're used to seeing the lines. I know you have a machine that can tell us whether the ball was in or out, but we'd like to see it with our own eyes in real time. So leave the lines on the tennis court. It'd be like taking away the first down line in football or the goal line in football because you're afraid that your officials are going to make the wrong call. You don't do that. You give the viewer everything they want to see on television. That's how you get big ratings. You don't get big ratings by trying to trick them into thinking you have the best umpires.
They're also saying that it could possibly clue in opposing teams that could watch the broadcast immediately, have them challenge it. And it's just like, guys, like just do your own work, man. I don't know.
Turn off the TVs in the dugout and the clubhouse. And if somebody goes in and there's a TV on, they get penalized. They get punished financially. Like, no.
Yeah, there's a lot I love Chris Sale's comments too as well. We'll probably kick that into tomorrow's show if we want to keep talking about it. But I just think this is going to be a bit of a work in progress. I don't think it's going to have as much of an effect on the game because you only get 2 challenges per game.
Right.
And again, 2 challenges for anything, not just balls and strikes. You have to be careful.
Right. You got to wait. You got to wait.
Yeah. There's other stuff.
Can't be a ball strike in the first inning.
No. Safe and out, all that good stuff, home runs, everything. That's all going to be on the table. So you just got to be really, really careful how you challenge that stuff. So I don't think it's going to affect it, but I think they're working out the kinks, Luke.
All right. I heard, by the way, I don't want to ruin this, but I heard Chris Sale was saying he wants the umpires to be sleeveless and that he was going to cut the sleeves off of every umpire's
makeover.
All right. On that note, we're back tomorrow. Justin's going to be in studio. I'm going to be in studio. Joey's going to be in studio. We're going to talk about the trip March 5th through the 8th coming up in spring training, and we hope you'll sign up and hang with us, sickos and diehards in the desert. Until then, tomorrow at 2 o'clock, presented by Shady Rays, by the way, that big trip to Arizona. We're going to tee them up. We're going to go to baseball games. And tomorrow, we will talk more Cubs baseball. It will be more of this on CHGO Cubs. Until then, fly the W.
This. We all silly like the mayor.